Okay, maybe not. All right. There we go.
Great. So to start out, what's your biggest source of inspiration?
Probably, being a parent and raising my daughter and living in the country, getting to work with a lot of amazing people, all over the world, really. So, it's a beautiful circulation of stuff that inspires, the work.
Very cool. I find it very inspiring to like take things from around me. So like hearing you talk about like just day-to-day things that are inspiring is really cool.
Wonderful.
Next question. How does your hometown affect your music?
My hometown? Well, I live in a very rural area, so it's not really a town. You mean where I'm from originally, maybe, or just where I live currently?
Either works. Where you're from originally, where you live, just what aspects of it.
Well, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. And, when I was growing up there, rock and roll was really, very much a thing there. And the radio stations were kind of on the cutting edge of what was coming out and things like that. And my parents were definitely avid music listeners. They weren't musicians, but, they kept up with what was coming out with rock and soul music and R&B and things. So that's definitely in my blood. At a certain time, I moved to West Virginia with my parents, and that completely changed life and how I looked at things. And so my whole like focus of music became, sort of unique, I guess. I mean, like, I just kind of like left popular culture because I didn't fit in with any social, circles or norms. So I just simply, I spent lots of time at my public library and discovered a world of music that I didn't even know existed, with classical music and then eventually electronic music and so on and so forth. Where I live now, it's, I moved out here from the city because I feel like the kind of work that I do with music and with synthesizers, I feel that I live close to the source. I mean, stepping outside here and just listening for even 10 to 20 minutes, you can kind of just be in touch with that inner ear when you're composing or doing sound design or even teaching and things like that. It really changes how I look at, my work with synthesis. So.
Right. So kind of branching off from that a little bit, what's your favorite genre of music or genres?
As a listener or as a composer or performer?
Both.
I mean, some of my biggest inspirations as a listener musically are people like George Crumb, John Adams, Natasha Barrett, Ben Johnston. These are what would be considered, modernism, 20th century composers. Definitely had a huge impact on what I do today. As a listener, though, my tastes are all over the place. I love a lot of acoustic fingerstyle guitar music. I love old rock and roll and soul music. Like I said, jazz. I spent years as a jazz musician and listener and lover. So I have a really extensive jazz collection of music. So it's all over the place. I mean, with modern music, my tastes are pretty narrow, I guess. I mean, I listen to a lot of singer-songwriters. They usually are female. I really like, a lot of just really intimate sounding music. And There's some heavy metal that I really like a lot. And I think that that can be a very special music, punk music, you know. There's some electronic composers today that I really admire. So, it's all over the map.
And kind of in a similar vein, who's an artist that you would really want to like work with or collaborate with to just create anything that you could possibly ever want to?
Well, that's a guy named Martin Peters in the Netherlands. And Martin and I have already made plans to work together and collaborate on a record or a piece. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, as time permits. It's been a very busy year, so I haven't really had time for that sort of free collaboration. That's very rare, for me to get to have that luxury. But I feel Martin is really special. He's a similar artist to me, and in certain ways, there's the kind of electronic music that he does it's very pure, and he's very tasteful. He has such a great natural sense of development and control of his style. It's really remarkable, and he doesn't really clutter it up. He just knows how to keep it moving and evolving, and it's just he's just a really great musician, and he's a very nice person, so that's always welcoming too. He's really special. So go listen to Martin Peters in the Netherlands. He's really great.
And then kind of stemming off from that point about this collaboration, what is something that you're looking forward to in the future with your music?
Well, I'm excited to get back out and play live again and to conduct live workshops and clinics and things like that. I really miss that. There's a real tangible circulation that comes from being in the moment and being in the moment with other humans. The studio is great and it's a haven to be here and to work here, but it can also kind of make you feel a little one-dimensional, after a while, because, this is where I compose, create, work. I mean, it's one thing all the time. And any artist needs to have, crop rotation. And it's been 2 solid years of just being out here and homeschooling my daughter. And I'm very grateful for that. That's how it worked out. It could be a lot worse of a situation over the pandemic and everything. So, I'm very grateful for my time here in this situation. But my work has a deeper calling, and that is to go and to connect with people in person and to, their impressions and their spirit and their energy. It has a lot to do with what comes next as an artist. It's not always about us as artists. It's about learning how to stay out of the way of yourself and allow what comes next with your art to vessel through you. And you have to be open to, other ideas and other experiences and other cultures and environments, and all these things are part of what ornament, what your work becomes in the long run.
And last but not least, what's your favorite part about creating music?
I guess it's just, it's a sort of timeless space to be in, when you're really in the flow of composing or improvising or just watching, realizing a piece come to life. Sometimes I'll come into the studio and I won't have an idea in my head at all about what I want to do, but I'll sit down and just look at the instruments for a while and, have a cup of coffee or tea, and just all of a sudden something happens. And then you just accept that invitation and you become willing to, just be free with the situation. On a whole other side of that, there is also times when I'm away from the studio where my greatest work really comes from. And I have these really intensely designed ideas that I go back to the studio thinking, well, can I pull that off? Can I really make that happen? And when that starts to happen, when you get in there and you pull up the sleeves and you start really seeing what you can make, what you can carve out of this idea or this feeling, it's a beautiful thing. You believe in the miraculous. You have, you become closer to whatever your idea of God is or love, and so there's a real genuine connection to the universe when you are in that flow, and when you're performing live and you're connecting with an audience and you are guiding the audience with your music and at the same time making them feel included. There's no greater gift as an artist, musician than that in performance. There's nothing does that, and nothing buys that. So it's just a very honest channel to dial into the frequency.
All right, that is it for my questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being an amazing program that I've had an opportunity to help work with.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, nice to speak with you. Thanks so much. Take care.
You too.
I'll send this to you. Okay, bye-bye.